Hi, friends. Today, Happy and I are going to read you part one of chapter three, Sad, Mad, Bad. I'll tell you how the whole week went. Terrible, terrible, terrible. It must have been National Frog Appreciation Week because frogs were all we talked about in room 26. First, Mrs. Verspain taught everybody how to take care of Og. The students gathered around as she put on rubber gloves, picked up the insect container, and sprinkled a few into Og's tank. She didn't seem too happy about the crickets, which turned out to be quite large and ugly. The way they leapt around the tank, no wonder Og went boing. Did you see his tongue? AJ bellowed. It must be a foot long. Ugh, he ate one. Gross. I want to pet him, said Mandy. Before anyone could stop her, she slid the top of the tank, reached down, and picked up a big lump of frog. No, Mandy, said Mrs. Verspain, but it was too late. Ah, he peed on me, Mandy shrieked, dropping Og back into his tank. Not that I blamed her. What unsqueakably bad manners. Is that any way for a classroom pet to act? Seth jumped back, shaking his hands. Ugh. Gail giggled, of course, as everyone else. Wash your hands with plenty of soap and hot water, Mrs. Brisbane told Mandy. To the rest of the class, that's what frogs do when they're frightened. We must all be gentle with poor Og. If you have to touch him, you must wear gloves. Pick him up by the shoulder blades and never squeeze his stomach or you'll hurt him. She ordered my classmates back to their seats, not including Mandy, who was washing her hands. Then we had to learn more frog facts. They do not start out as cute, furry little babies like hamsters. No, no, no. They start out as funny little tadpoles, then they grow into ugly looking pollywogs, and they end up as big, lumpy frogs with bulging eyes. For some strange reason, everyone was fascinated with frogs except for Tabitha and me. She paid more attention to her stuffed bear than to anything else in the class. I overheard Mandy complain to the other girls that Tabitha wasn't very friendly. I tried to get her to play at recess, but she wasn't interested in anything besides that bear. She's a big baby. That Saya had learned to speak up, but the other girls decided that Tabitha was unfriendly, like someone else who was new in room 26. So, after much frog talk, Mrs. Brisbane moved on to the subject of poetry. First, we read a scary poem about a tiger. We also read a poem about a bee, followed by a silly poem about a purple cow. Some poems rhyme and some don't. But there are a lot of rhyming words like moon and June, cat and rat. Funny, those last two words rhyme, isn't it? At night, while Og stared into space, I made a list of rhyming words in my notebook. Better than trying to talk to him as he continued to give me the silent treatment. Jumpity, bumpity, grumpity, lumpity. Funny, those words all rhyme too. After a few days spent reading poems, Mrs. Perspain said it was time for us to write our own poems. There were louder groans than the first time she mentioned poetry. Mrs. Perspain held up her hand, which meant, everybody be quiet. All of this is in preparation for Valentine's Day, when our class will present a poetry festival for all the parents. Each of you will recite a poem you wrote or one you like. There were no groans now. In fact, some of the students looked excited. Even pay attention Art Patel was paying attention. Mrs. Verspain explained that our assignment was to write a poem about an animal, at least 6 lines long, with words that rhymed. And that is all for today. We will finish chapter 3 tomorrow.